It's hard not to feel at least somewhat alone in the Fulbright company's Gone Home. Playing as Katie, a young woman returning from a year-long overseas trip, you find your family's new home empty and start investigating the rooms and hallways to find out what's happened. With very few mechanics, puzzles, or even challenges to get in the way, you soon uncover one of the most heartfelt and unique narratives to be found in video games today. Gone Home is unique in that player and protagonist are not necessarily the same person. Although seen through the eyes of Katie, the narrative focus is undoubtedly on Samantha, her younger sister, whose disembodied voice speaks to you as you pick up secret letters, school reports, and homemade comic books.
Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school, and my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier.
Sam and Katie's parents also feature quite predominantly, but these stories require a little more piecing together. A weekly planner might reveal the state of their marriage, for instance. It's a fantastic exercise in non-traditional narrative, where the personalities, anxieties, and lives of people can be determined by how messy their rooms are, what music they're last listening to, and what they try to hide from others. The game allows some of Katie's personality to poke through as well, playing with its form by providing alternative textual descriptions of objects. Sam's narrative arc traces her journey of identity as she discovers who she is and what impact this will have on the rest of her life. Other themes, like alcoholism, love, and redemption also persist, and it's quite incredible to experience these ideas not through direct interaction with the characters, but with what they leave behind. As you sift through the lives of your family, much of the storytelling occurs in your mind as you imagine the scenarios that the letters and objects describe. A good deal of the emotional weight of the game comes from having been in these situations yourself, and as such, younger players might not enjoy Gone Home as much as older ones. It can be hard to engage with nostalgia if you're not dealing with an adolescence that is rapidly slipping away, just as it can be hard to empathise with themes of identity if you're yet to go through that process yourself. The game leverages nostalgia, not only in its obsessive display of X-Files tapes and Street Fighter II references, but also in its dynamics, such as looking for a key code to open a safe, a task often asked of players in older games like Deus Ex or System Shock. It expands on the ideas of other games, such as Dear Esther, by featuring very few traditional mechanics. The game largely consists of walking and examining objects. Reinforcing the narrative, these actions enable the player to uncover the secrets of both the house and Katie's family as she does. The relatively slow movement speed and clever use of lighting and detail allow Fulbright to direct the player to certain areas of the house, and shortcuts open up over the course of the game which recontextualizes certain rooms and objects. By setting the game in an abandoned house on a dark, stormy night, Fulbright uses horror tropes to make you feel like a teenager again. With dark rooms and hallways around every corner, the game returns you to that time between childhood and adulthood, where you know logically that there's no such thing as ghosts, but that doesn't stop you from leaving every light in the house on, just in case. Gone Home exacerbates this behaviour by planting ideas in your head, just as you dismiss them as ridiculous. In fact, the game is so good at this that it seems to be reading your mind at times, and this tension eventually builds to a point where walking into a darkened basement becomes unbearable. Gone Home is an important game. Like Dear Esther and similar games before it, it suggests that perhaps what we do with our hands in video games doesn't have to involve violence. Maybe realistic can mean issues that we all have to deal with. Issues that maybe don't involve life or death, but are important nonetheless. Every house, every family, and every game has a story. This is one that's worth experiencing.
Somehow I always knew that someday we'd be through.
So that was a review from our newest member, Liam. Guys, what do you think of Gone Home? the review was just amazing. It was one of the best reviews I've seen. It was just great.
Yeah, I mean, to have it put that way, I mean, I guess, you know, obviously I've seen some clips of Gone Home, but I hadn't actually thought about those themes, and I'm actually quite interested in playing it now. I haven't actually played it, so
It's a weird thing going on with like indie games where they try to like kind of mess with your sense of like what's going to happen and what a game should be. Like last year especially, we had like, you know, Stanley Parable was the really obvious one, but like Gone Home is like probably one of the better like versions of that that's ever happened, really.
Yeah, it does seem like a very important game to play.
So it was just really good. I want to play it now.
I'm a bit teary.
That's all we have for today. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, and we'll see you next week. Next week on Worldwide Gaming. Why does this always happen?